people who had all joined me to come for this trip to Somnath and Dwarka. It was quite amazing. One lady came up to me and she said to me, Prabhuji, you're sitting here and working on something I can see, and I know that you're very busy working on something, but there's two other monks with you. Can one monk come and join us for a discussion? Can he lead us into a discussion? Can we have a questions and answers session? It's going to be about 2 hours, but we can really have a great time and a deeper understanding of life if there could be a nice discussion and Q&A. And this monk who was with me went and joined them, and for the next 1.5 to 2 hours, this group of 5 or 8 ladies were having a very meaningful discussion and question and answer session with this monk. I saw a couple of others connecting to each other, making their friendships deeper. Some of them were chatting with each other, and some in our group were nursing 2 beautiful twin babies. There was a young couple who had who had twins. These little girls, they were like dolls, packed out of a box, and they were nursing them, they were playing with them. And despite the fact that the flight was delayed, everybody seemed to be busy, everybody seemed to be positive, everybody seemed to be enthusiastic, energetic, and 2 hours flew away. And we came on the flight landed at about 2:30 or so in Porbandar, and then we had a nice bus waiting, a very comfortable couch, air-conditioned, which was meant to bring us to Somnath. They told us that it would take us about 3 hours to drive to Somnath. And guess what? The road was so bumpy, and it took us about 4.5 to 5 hours to reach Somnath. Meanwhile, nobody had eaten anything, but people were all still okay with what was happening. And then the organizers of the trip had sent us packed lunch on the buses. The car had come and they gave us this packed lunch. All of us had packed lunch. We reached Somnath about 7:30, 8 in the evening. It had been more than 12 hours. People were all very tired, exhausted. They wanted to rest, but everybody was positive. They weren't annoyed. They'd taken it in a very good spirit. They'd chosen to be positive. They'd chosen to see the silver lining. They'd chosen to be with each other. They'd chosen to utilize their time properly. They'd chosen to make the most out of what was happening. And guess what? Their experience was uplifting. Their experience was positive. And what if they had known that the flight which was meant to take off at 9:30 did take off at 9:30 and met with an air crash or an emergency landing? Would they ever grumble about the 2 hours delay? What if they had known that the driver had taken the wrong road, this bumpy road? Instead, if he would have taken the smooth road and the quicker road, but on the quicker road, we would have all met with an accident? Would we then grumble that we were on a bumpy road? Would we then grumble that we took about 1.5 to 2 hours extra to reach Somnath? I do not think we would have grumbled if we would have known the purpose, the reason behind why we were delayed. If we would have known the purpose, the reason beyond those little things or even the big things that really annoy us and get on to us, would we have still complained? I doubt. All the complaining, the grumbling that happens within our minds is because we do not see the purpose beyond those things that are happening to us. And it's a fact that at its face value, we are not able to see why these little things are going wrong. Only later, as Steve Jobs said, when we connect the dots backward, can we really see that there has probably been a purpose. This is why Helen Keller, she said, the worst thing, even worse than being blind, is to have sight, but no vision. Sight means to see the obvious. Vision means to see the beyond. Sight means to see everything by face value. And vision means to actually see the purpose behind what is happening to us. Yesterday, as I was thinking about all of this, I was reminded of the September 11 attacks in New York City. Some of the survivors of the September 11 attacks came together and they were discussing how they actually lived what were the reason that they were alive today. One lady said she had set up the alarm clock to get up at 6 o'clock. The alarm didn't ring. She got up at 8 o'clock. She was meant to be in a meeting at 8:30 in the Twin Towers. She was up at 8 because the alarm didn't ring. And she was so annoyed that she couldn't be in that important meeting. She was so frustrated that the alarm hadn't rung. And just in a couple of hours, she heard news that the Twin Towers were destroyed and devastated. One lady, she had gotten up on time. She was ready to go to office and food spilled over her clothes. And because food spilled over her clothes, she now had to change her clothes, but she couldn't find a good set of clothes which was ironed and pressed well. So she had to iron the clothes, go through the trouble of putting it all in place, change and then leave. And she didn't make it in time because before she could get there, the Twin Towers were pulled down by one attack. One man, he said that he was all ready and everything was set to now leave for office. But his child was making such a scene at home, not willing to go to school. His wife, who was busy with something else, had asked her husband, can you kindly take care of this child and put him in place? Can you kindly get him ready to go to school? And this man was really having a tough time to get his child to go to school, which is why he got delayed to come to office. He got the news that the Twin Towers were destroyed. There was another man who wanted to go. His car wouldn't start. He went to the bus stop and he missed the bus. Most touching of all stories was one guy, he purchased a pair of new shoes. He put on this pair of new shoes and as he was on his way to work, because of these new shoes, he developed a blister on one of his foot. He stopped at a medical store to get bandage to put on his foot and got delayed. He was saved, and many others who did not get there because of all these little things that were happening in their lives were saved. Ladies and gentlemen, do you get annoyed by those little things that are happening in your lives? Do you get annoyed that you couldn't make it for a meeting because you got a high fever? Do you get annoyed that you couldn't make it for that holiday or for the trip or for the party or for that function, that social function, because your child was creating a drama and a scene at home? Do you get annoyed that you could not make it for that interview because your train, your flight, your car got stuck? Yes, so many times we get annoyed, disturbed, frustrated by those little things that are happening in our lives. Yes, the worst thing than being blind is to have sight but no vision. When we look at things by their face value, we're looking at based on our sight. It's annoying, my son's not listening, the trains got delayed, the flights got delayed, my alarm clock did not ring, I got a blister on my foot. We get annoyed when we just see it based on our sight. But when we look at all these things based on a vision, we will see that there's probably a purpose. There may have been a purpose behind what happened to me. Maybe if I was there in the meeting, I would get told off. Maybe that meeting was held to conspire against me, who knows? Which is why I always advise people, start going beyond your sight. Start looking at situations in life with a proper vision. Don't go simply by the obvious. Go beyond to see what's the purpose. Don't go by face value. See the actual purpose behind what is happening in life. And when we start looking at life like that, I don't think those little annoying things would annoy you as much. The next time you're stuck in traffic, the next time you develop a blister on your foot, the next time a child's creating a drama, I'm not saying don't correct the child and don't make it right, next when it's not just going right, the next time when you have a high fever and you can't go on the trip, you miss that trip and you're annoyed, just remember the September 11 survivors. It were those little things that were annoying them, but there was a purpose. And looking backwards in retrospect, you may actually see that there was a purpose, and you may be grateful to God and grateful for all what happened to you and say, yes, it's because of this I am who I am today. I want to thank all of you very, very much for joining us this evening. It's going to be a very short session this evening because I need to really rush to go somewhere. But next week I look forward to catching up with you for a longer session, more questions and answers. And we'll be together again to inspire each other in trying to make the experience of our life beautiful. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.